Hello again. So, thank you for the people who responded to my What Next video. Well, one of the things that came out was fractions and number line, so I thought we'd do fractions of amount finding a whole. So this can be a little bit tricky. There is also one that came up on this year's stats paper. It was the last question on paper 2, and it was quite tough. And what I thought I'd do is I would go through all the steps on how to solve these sorts of questions. There is a shortcut for all of these once you kind of understand how it all works. You can do some dividing and some multiplying, but I'm going to do it this way using bar models so you understand what you're doing, because when you see the stats questions at the end, if you don't know what you're doing, you will struggle with them. So, fractions of an amount. So, what we've got here is we don't know what the whole is. So we're finding the whole. So we don't know what the whole is. Well, in this question here, we can see each time we're going to use a bar model. So if this one is 30, then this one must be 30, so must that one, and so must that one, because all my fractions are the same. 30, 60, 90, 120. So my answer is 120. So my whole was 120. With this question, this time around we've got 9 boxes, but we know that slightly different. This one we know. Let's see if I can get my camera to autofocus a little bit. There you are. I've got 4 boxes that have 8 T's shared between them. So we've got this one. Each one must be the same. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So that section is correct. Now if we keep going, we have 9 boxes. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. Therefore it's 180. This question, well, now we've got a bit of a worded problem, but it's exactly the same thing. So Felix has run 2/3 of a race. We know it's thirds, and therefore we've got 3 boxes. And he's run 12 kilometers. How far is the race altogether? So we don't know the whole. We don't know what the whole is. Well, that must be 6, and that must be 6, because 2 lots of 6s are 12, which means that this third must also be 6. So we have 6, 12, 18. Got to remember that bit. Okay, so that's the basics of fraction of an amount finding the whole. So let's move on to some styles of questions you might find if you're being assessed on this. So here we've got a question. Oh, I've realised I haven't put how many children in the class. So we have got 3/8. Now I know my bar needs to have 8 sections because it's in 8ths. Now 8ths are quite hard to draw and get it right. So I'm going to actually split it into 2 first, and I'm going to put 4 this side and 4 this side. It doesn't matter if my fractions aren't exactly the same size, because it's just a model to help me. I'm not doing it to scale. So this side we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Always worth checking. So let's unpick this question now. So I know that 3/8 of these children have blonde hair. So these are my blonde-haired children, and there are 9 of them. And I don't know how many children are in the class. So I'm going to put class, I don't know. Well, if 1, 2, 3 is the same as 9, well then I need a number that goes 3 times into 9, which is helpfully 3. So 3, 6, 9. Good, I've got this bit here. So now we can do this, is we can multiply it through. So some of you might be thinking, but sir, it's just 3 times 8 now. You're right, it is. And that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video. There are shortcuts to this, but as long as you know what you're doing, then you can solve any question. And bar models are really useful, and you'll see at the end there are 3 questions at the end which can be quite tricky, especially the money one that I've got for you. They've all come off past that papers, and they always sit towards the end of the paper, so they are always that higher GD expectation, or really pushing that high end of expectation. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So each of those, is 24. So we can have 24 in the class, or even better, 24 children. that in there to make it really clear. Okay, so my next question is a prove it question. Now, when you get to prove it questions, the danger is you write too much. It's a maths paper. It's not a writing paper. It's not a reading paper. So you need to show maths here. If you're a good writer, you're more likely to not get this question right because you're not showing the maths. You're going to use too many words. So I'm going to model with you kind of what the examiner is looking for. So we've got Priya went shopping to spend her birthday money. When she got home, she had £60 left, okay, which was 2/5, that's important, of her money. Is Priya's statement correct? Explain your answer. So before I went shopping, I had £150. So we're going to draw the bar. We know it's fifths because it says so there. It's fifths. It's a bit tricky to draw, but as long as I get it roughly right there, okay, that'll do. Now, she has 2/5 left. Now, I'm going to put them at the end because we naturally work from left to right. So this is the bit that she had left, and we don't know that bit that's there. Okay, we don't know what that question is. Excuse me, that is there. We do know that she's got £60 there. So if that's £60, let's put a pound sign in, each of these must be 30 because, as we know, 30 add 30 is 60. Well, if 30 and 30 is are those fifths, well, this fifth must also be 30, and so must that, and so must that. Now, this is your working. Okay, so if you were going to take a shortcut and do some division and multiplication, you have to show this, okay? Because it says explain your answer. So we need to show our working. Well, there's my working here. So I'm going to cross that out because it's no longer unknown. And we have that as £150. And just to make it really clear to the person who's looking at my book, my examen, is I can just write Priya is correct. There you go. So Priya is correct. We have those answers, excuse me, that are there. All right. So they were the simple worded problems. Now I'm going to kind of move on to the sorts of things you'll see at the end of year 6. So these are the sorts of things you might see in your paper 1, your arithmetic paper. Okay. Excuse me. Just try to find my piece of paper on the floor. There it is. Oh, I realised I haven't put a number in there. Let's put that one in there, like that. Okay, so, whoops. Oops, that was me knocking the table. I apologise. So, what we have got here is... There we go. We have... I'll just bash the table. It's all gone out of kilter. There you go. So, I now don't have a bar. Okay, so I have got 2/3. So, there's my bar. And I'm going to put it into thirds. Okay, my third's a bit big, but you get the idea. Now, 2/3 of something. So there's my something. I don't know what it is yet, but 2/3 of it is 30. So there's my 2/3. I don't know what my something is, but then we can take the steps we've taken already. So here we go, 15 and 15. Well, if that's 15 and that's 15, well, this must also be 15. So 15, 30, 45. So my missing number is 45. Now I can put it there. I'm also going to put it here. Now, as you can see, I've put a line through it just to show anybody looking at my book. It's no longer unknown. It's 45, and there's my proof. My next question. Again, I've now got fifths. So, draw my bar. There's my bar. I've got fifths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always worth checking because you might draw an extra one. And then that will really confuse you, so just check. So 4/5 of something, so I don't know what my something is. There's my something, I don't know what it is. But I know that much is 80. Oh, so I've got to think of a number that goes 4 times into 80. Well, it's going to be 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 40, 60, 80. Yep, that works. So 20, another 20, and another 20, and another 20. Well, if they're all 20s, if all those fifths are 20, then this one must also be 20. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So it's no longer unknown. It's 100. I can squeeze it in there as well. And we got it. Right, this last question. Now I turned it around. Remember, this means the same as. We know it's equals, but it's also the same as. So this side is the same as this side. So here, I just switched it around on you because you might see it from time to time. So 35 is the same as 7/10 of what? Okay. Okay. If you think you kind of getting it, well, why don't you stop the video, pause the video, have a little go, and we can and then you can see if you're right. Okay, I'm going to move on. So, right, I've got tenths. Tenths are really hard to get correct, so I'm going to split the bar into two. I'm going to kind of cheat, and I'm going to put 5 this side, and I'm going to put 5 this side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have made my bar a bit bigger. That's quite small. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is kind of works. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just checking. Yep. Okay, so I don't know what the mystery number is, but I do know that 7/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, I'm just making sure I've got the right number of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know that that is 35. Now, bit of a trickier number this time around. I know that 7 times 5 is 35. Now, I've got to make sure I got 7 lots of 5, not 5 lots of 7, or even 7 lots of 7. That's where you can make a mistake. So like all things, this tool here, it's only useful if you know if you understand what you're doing. So it's always worth to have a go at them when those numbers are a little bit trickier. So I know that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So let's keep going. Another 5, another 5, and another 5. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay. So I have 50 here. So 35 is 7/10 of 50. So we have got that one there. Right, so that is all of the basics that you will need to solve the questions which I've got coming up. So what we've got now are real life stats questions. In fact, the first one actually came from this year's paper 2, and the paper 2 was tricky. There were some real doozy questions in there, and this one is exactly what we've been doing. Okay, and this was the last question, question 23 on paper 2. So, as you can see from the piece of paper, it's almost set up exactly like a bar already. So, the distance from A to B is 3/4 of the distance from A to C. What is the distance from B to C? Okay, well, it's really quite lovely. I'm actually going to draw the bar on here. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do it here and I'm going to do it here so you can kind of see both. So, it's 3/4. So, therefore, this bar here has to be split up into quarters. And I'm going to do it up here. Now it says not to scale, but it's not far off actually. It says not to scale because they don't want you measuring it and then doing some crazy maths and some division. That's why they say not to scale, and it also won't be exact. But we can kind of see that actually it's not too far off. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've got these boxes here. So exactly the same as before. What number? So that there is 24, there's 24. Okay, well, what number goes 3 times into 24? Well, it's 8. So that's 8, that's 8, and that's 8. Well, if that's 8, that's 8, and that's 8, this one here must also be 8. Now, because it's a SATs question, there's a little bit of unpicking to do here. It says, what is the distance from B to C? The distance from B to C is not 8 and 8 and 8 and 8. It's just this one here. Okay, this is why it's question 23. There's a bit of, can you understand what the question says? So the answer is simply 8. Okay, and hopefully you can kind of see how, excuse me, all of those sorts of questions we've been doing so far, okay, feed into what we've been doing here. Okay, all these sorts of questions here. So let's have a look at the next question. Again, this came from a SATS paper. I can't remember exactly what year it was, a few years ago now, but we have the same thing. Now, we've got a box here. They want us to do some calculations, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a bar. I'm going to draw my bar on the piece of paper. So, on Saturday, Laura read 2/5 of her book. On Sunday, she read the other 90 pages to finish the book. How many pages are there in Laura's book? Well, we've got fifths. So let's get our box drawn in. It's a little bit of unpicking. I'm going to just almost ignore the boxes on my piece of paper. I'm going to do it nice and bold. Hopefully you can see it. So we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and we have 5. I'm going to just go over it a couple of times so you can kind of see it. Okay, so we've got, excuse me, here we've got, so this bit here, this is Saturday. Okay, there's Saturday. Okay, and we know that Sunday is here. I'm going to write it all down. There's Sunday. And also on Sunday, and we don't know how many pages are in the total book. That's the bit we don't know. Well, we know on Sunday, because it says up here, that she read 90 pages. So these three together is 90. Well, if these three together are 90, each one must be 30. Each one has to be 30 with this question that's here. So that has to be 30, that has to be 30, and that has to be 30. Because I've got 30, 60, 90. Well, if that fifth is 30, and that fifth is 30, and that fifth is 30, therefore this one must also be 30, and so must this one. So now I've got 5 lots of 30, or 5 lots of 30 is 150. Let's draw that a bit better. Okay, so again, I've used my bar, and I've solved it using a bar. Yes, some of you are thinking, but sir, what you could do is you can kind of divide, and yeah, you can do some dividing up here, but even as when I was teaching high ability year 6s and they were looking for GD, this way you're far less likely to make a mistake. And let's be honest, it's about getting all the points we can, so you show just how great you are. Okay, so the last question I've got for you is quite tricky, okay, only because the numbers are more difficult. Okay, the process is exactly the same, but we've got a bit of a jump in the calculation at the end. Now, this is how it was set out on the page in the SATS paper, and you might notice that all the wonderful space at the bottom, that's because they kind of know that you might not use this box here. You might actually use the one that's down here. Now I'm actually going to use this one down here to draw my bar, and then up here I've got some funny numbers up here, so I'm actually going to then, going to do some calculation up here to get the answer that's in here. And we've got money, and we've got pence, and we've got decimals, and we've got all sorts of different traps, so we're going to go nice and slowly, and hopefully even I won't make a mistake today. So what have we got here? So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure we've got the right number of boxes in our bar. Well, it says 3/4, and they've written it out here just to be a little bit sneaky. So I know that therefore my 3/4, whoops, there we go. So I've got 3/4. There's my bar that's there. Okay, so she spends £1.25 on a drink, and she spends £1.60 on a sandwich. She has 3/4 of her money left. How much money did Laura start with? So these two numbers here together must be 1/4, because we've still got 3/4 left. Okay, so I'm going to put here, so spent. Okay, so let's do a little bit of maths. So again, it's now an extra step because I don't know what this number is straight away because I haven't worked it out yet. Okay, so let's do that up here nice and neatly. So we have £1.25 add £1.60. Make sure I get my decimal point in there before I go any further, otherwise I'll forget it. Well, we have, that's 85 and that's 2. So this one here is £2.85. Okay, so she has spent £2.85, but she's got 3/4 of her money left. So I need to know how much money did she start with. So I need to know what the whole bar is equal to. Well, if that's £2.85, that's £2.85, that's £2.85, and that's £2.85. And just so that I don't forget it, I'm going to put the pound signs in. Now, how you do the next step is up to you. Now, I'm going to do a multiplication up here. Okay, I'm going to, because I've got 4 lots of £2.85, but there's lots of different ways you can do it. But I'm going to do a multiplication up here, and hopefully I'll have the right answer at the end. So, so I'm going to set it out really carefully. Now, I haven't done I have recorded my multiplication video yet. I just need to edit it because I made a mistake. So we've got £2.85 multiplied. Now I'm going to put the 4 over there. I know that some of your teachers might put it over here, but I'm going to put it over there. And really, really importantly, I'm going to put the decimal point in there, because otherwise I might forget it. I've given it its own box. I know sometimes you might have it put it here. I've given it its own box. I think it's really important. And now I'm going to do a bit of short multiplication to solve this answer here. So we have 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so there's my 4 times 5. 4 times 8 is 32. Add the 2 on is 34. Okay, and then I've got 4 times 2, add the 3 is 11. And I've got my decimal point in here already. So therefore it's £11.40. So that concludes my session for today. Hopefully you've found it useful. Getting some bits off the paper off the floor. So that's how you use a bar model to find an amount using a bar model to find fractions. Please let me know if you find it useful. If you would like me to look at a different type of question, a different style of question, then please send me a message. I've got comments turned off on the videos, but my email address is on my page. And yeah, good luck. I hope everything is going well with you, and I am sure I will speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.